Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of the Mark of Kri. I played on the PS4, it was originally released on the PS2 way back when. So you can already tell that this is immediately going to be a review just for PS4 gamers. And PS2 gamers, if you have a copy of Mark of Kri and a PS2 still hooked up, which I sincerely doubt, so you could probably just download it on the PS4. So the story of Mark of Kri is you play as Rao, a young Samoan Polynesian kind of dude who is gigantic. I mean, just gigantic. And he has been trained as a warrior like all of his life, and he's getting restless and he wants to go on adventures. He finally gets that opportunity, he goes on a couple adventures, his name starts to get out there, people start coming to him with jobs, and then shit goes sideways. Shit goes specifically sideways when Creepy McCreeperstein shows up, aka the Dark One, and gives him a job, and Rao's like, yeah, I'll go do it. And then, like, he finds out he's involved in some much deeper shit. He finds out that his entire life has been leading up to this much deeper, bigger, just adventure. And that is where the story goes. As for the audio, I really enjoyed the music in this game. I think the different choices in music that they use for the different levels and different things going on in the levels, it added a lot to the game, and I really enjoyed that. I also was really impressed with the sound effects going back, specifically because this game came out at a time when it was still pretty rare that your character's footsteps would make a different sound depending on the surface they were walking on, or even the weapons would make different sounds just depending on what weapon you were using. And this game does those things. When you walk on wood, it sounds like somebody walking on wood versus walking on dirt or stone. And when you whack them with a wooden weapon or your axe or your sword or you use your bow and arrow, they all make different sound effects. It's actually really well done. I really had one point in time where I had audio issues, and that was when there were just a crap ton of characters on screen at the same time. Specifically a bunch of enemies that I was trying to fight, and I started to get some weird staticky sound effects, and I think it was specifically because the game is older and wasn't really designed for that. I think it was pushing the limits back then, and that unfortunately just still translated in the game nowadays, because it was the only point in time when I had any audio issues. As for the gameplay, it's a mix of stealth and regular action, but I personally found that the stealth was far more useful to me than like just charging in and trying to get into melee combat. I think they did a little bit more to give you an advantage when it came to stealth because they give you a bird, and I don't remember what the bird is named or what kind of bird it is. It looks kind of like a crow or a raven or something like that, but you can send it to perches and it can like survey the land for you. You can see through its eyes, and when you're seeing through its eyes, you can like see where the enemies are, how many there are, if there's anything you can use to distract them. Like, you can basically map out your plan of stealth attack. And I really enjoyed that, and I found myself using it a lot, and like I said, I found it more useful than charging in and doing the melee combat. Because while the melee combat is unique and interesting, it's not the best done. What is unique about it is both a blessing and a curse for this game. You can basically use the right thumbstick to target multiple enemies, so you can have 3 enemies targeted or more depending on the weapon, but each enemy is assigned a button, one of 3 buttons, the X, the square, or the circle. You hit circle, you attack that enemy, you hit square, you attack a different enemy, X, a different enemy, which that is really cool. Unfortunately, that does take away your control of the camera. You get a button to recenter the camera, and it doesn't always work the way you want it to. But it is a cool and unique system. I will give it points for that. I will say one thing for the stealth. Rao does not know what stealth means, because the way he kills some of these dudes in his stealth kills, man, they are loud as shit. As for the controls, I feel like they work well. I do feel they are not perfect. They're pretty responsive, but I do feel like they could be a little bit more responsive, especially when pulling off some of the more complicated combos. Not that they're super complicated, but I found that I would be doing the button presses for the combo and he would stop like half or a third of the way through, something like that. That being said, for the simple combos and for the basic combat and the targeting, pretty much most of the things, it works very well. The only thing I really found problematic at times was the movement. Specifically when you're near objects or walls, you can get stuck fairly easily. Not stuck in a sense that you're like, oh shit, I now can't move. You gotta wiggle around a bit, but you can free yourself from that stuck position. It's just kind of annoying at times. Lastly, the graphics. Obviously, this being a PS2 game ported to the PS4, it's not the prettiest thing you're ever gonna see. That being said, I do like what they did, and there are small details at times that are actually really impressive. What I mean by I like what they did is The art style itself is really cool. It looks like a 90s Disney cartoon, but made into a much more violent video game. And I enjoy that. I also like the character designs, how they went with a kind of Polynesian Samoan look. I thought that was cool. As for the unique details, what I mean is some of the stealth kills, he'll hold a dude up against a wall and he'll be about to stab with his sword and he'll move his own hand out of the way to make sure he doesn't stab his own hand. Little details like that are pretty freaking cool, especially back from a PS2 game. Overall, I really enjoyed this. It was fun to go back to and play. It has aged fairly well. I mean, it's not flawless, and it doesn't necessarily do everything as well as modern games do, but it is a fun game to go back and play. Maybe you played it on the PS2, maybe you didn't beat it, maybe you're jonesing for some old school PS2 action. Go for it. Okay, so in the comments below, why don't you tell me what your favorite PS2 action game was? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, share, subscribe. Have a good one. Or PS2 gamer, damn it.